Iron Man 2. Do we really have to talk about this? Welcome back, everybody, to my journey to Infinity War. As you already know, this is my journey from Iron Man all the way up until Avengers Infinity War comes out on April 27th. This is going to be exciting, but with all the good things we've gotten through Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Captain America, the First Avenger, and Thor, now we gotta get through some pain, because out of the first phase films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this is definitely the worst, and it is Iron Man 2. This is the story of Tony Stark, Iron Man, who after the events of Iron Man 1, he kind of has to defend himself, his fight against the government to make sure they don't take his suit away, because as he says, he is Iron Man, but you know, Mickey Rourke is showing up as Whiplash for like 2 seconds in the movie, and then Justin Hammer shows up again and again and again to be a thorn in Tony Stark's side. Now, I might be seeming a bit choppy in my explanation of this film. Well, the problem is that Iron Man is an insanely choppy film. It's entertaining. I mean, it is definitely an entertaining film. Robert Downey Jr., all the cast we had from last time, they do a phenomenal job. Of course, Terrence Howard isn't in this film anymore. They got Don Cheadle to play Rhodey instead, and he will play Rhodey up until the events of where we are now with the Avengers films. But in all honesty, this film, it's enjoyable, but it's not good. I mean, it's a guilty pleasure for me because I love Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. But this film goes in so many directions and it has so many villains inside it that it kind of just goes all over the place. I mean, is the villain the US government? Is the villain Mickey Rourke? Is the villain Justin Hammer? I mean, who's the villain here? And plus the fact, it seems like they did this weird splice of who Tony Stark's character was. A good portion of this movie is dedicated to showing Tony Stark as who he was and giving his character revelation. But then there's another character that seems like he was pulled out of not only the comics, but he was pulled out of Robert Downey Jr.'s life and is a drunkard version of Tony Stark that you just downright hate. I mean, he doesn't even remind me of Tony Stark, really, and so that put me on edge. My favorite parts about this movie, overall, I consider the performances, because everybody does a really great job. But this chapter in Tony Stark's life, it does bring in more Avengers and MCU stuff, but as a whole, I think this movie kind of pays the price for it, because the movie goes in so many different directions that it doesn't just come down to one clear, concise idea. And I think one of the bigger issues might be the fact that the studios, Iron Man was a great moneymaker, but the studios made Jon Favreau pump out Iron Man in 2 years instead of 3 for the sake of getting a bunch of revenue stream into their company, because Iron Man was extremely monetizable. It made a ton of money at the box office, and they wanted to repeat that success again. And while that may have happened, the movie as a whole wasn't a very good byproduct of what the studios wanted to do. Guys, once again, when it comes to Iron Man 2, I enjoyed the movie. I do not mind watching the second Iron Man film, but this movie has so many problems with it that I can't necessarily say it's a great movie overall. I can't even say it's a good movie. In fact, I'd say it's probably more of a guilty pleasure bad movie, kind of like Tomb Raider. But what I can say is this: although there are a lot of problems with the movie, and we are still on our journey to Infinity War, I can still recommend seeing Iron Man 2 if you haven't watched it already. So, I gotta say that Iron Man 2, with all of its problems, is a casual watch. Alright guys, and as always, you know what's coming up next. The big review is coming up next. Tomorrow, we are talking about Marvel's The Avengers, the first one that started it all off, the groundbreaking one that was one of the first films to It broke so many records. I'll get into that when I review it. But you know what? We got a bunch of stuff headed our way. Our journey continues. Guys, I love you all so much. And as always, you know what I'm about to say here. It is what you say that matters. So have you had a chance to see Iron Man 2? And do you like it more than I do? What is your opinion of Iron Man 2? I really want to get your details because that's what makes the internet thrive and that's what makes conversations great. Whatever may be on your mind, leave it down below. Let's get that conversation started, and if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right there and subscribe and become part of the fray of nerds who love cinema. You all have a fantastic day.